Hello viewers, it's Tuesday in the Lono Studios, and you know what happens right here in the Lono Studios when we say it's Tuesday. We are talking about the Lono debates, and I'm your host Clarius J.R. to host today's debates. Well, as you know, our motion for today's debate is the recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. The recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. All right, so what do you think, our viewers out there? Remember, you can participate in this debate by simply sending us your comments in the comment section. Tell us what you think about today's debate. Is indeed the recycling of politicians the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia? Right about now, allow me to welcome our panelists in today's debate. I'm talking about the people who are going to shed more light on the motion, the people who are going to propose as well as propose to this motion. Right about now, allow me to call upon our first speaker who is coming from the proposing side, and this is no other than Mr. Innocent Chanda.
Our dear viewers out there, those of you who are glued to Lono TV, stay tuned as we continue to, of course, inform you and, of course, educate you about today's motion, which is very interesting, very, very interesting. Stay tuned. My name, as Elia alluded, is Chanda Innocent. Thank you.
All right, that was Mr. Chanda proposing to the motion, which stipulates, as I articulate, the recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. Remember, you can participate in today's debate by simply sending us the comments in the comment section, and we get to read those comments and tell us what you think about today's debate. Remember, the Lono Debates is today sponsored by Sajotech Mobile, the #1 phone accessories provider. If you're looking for phone chargers, phones, as well as if you need your phone to be repaired, do not go anywhere other than Mr. Sajotech Mobile, or rather Sajotech Mobile, located in Kasama Town Center, right opposite Luwingu Station. All right, right about now, allow me to call upon the person who's going to be opposing to today's motion, and this is Mr. Joshua Sulanji. Mr. Joshua Sulanji, please make your way through to the podium.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Joshua Sulanji, and I'm opposing to the motion that states recycling of politicians is a reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. And I won't say much. You are going to hear my views of how I think about this motion. Thank you.
All right, that was Mr. Joshua Sulanji saying he's a man of a few words, but mwevene mwalai mwena as the debate goes on. Okay, so right about now, we are going to go for a short break, and when we come back, the debate continues.
Lono Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As Lono Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than Lono Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at LonoZM.
All right, like I said, today's Lono Debate is sponsored by Sajotech Mobile. So if you are that person out there who is looking forward to buy a phone, be it a Techno, Infinix, or simply any other phone that you might think of buying, do not go anywhere other than Sajotech Mobile, located in Kasama Town Center, right opposite Luwingu Station. All right, so as I said earlier, the debate is going to continue, and let's get the ball rolling as I call upon the first speaker coming from the proposing side, and this is no other than Mr. Innocent Chanda.
While they deceive, we perceive our perceptions in all paths to redemption. Vision is not common, House of Intellectuals. House of Intellectuals, tonight is both an honor and of course a privilege to propose the motion which stipulates, as I articulate, the recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. House of Intellectuals, it would be unwise for me to start this debate without, first of all, redefining the key terms in this motion. Firstly, a politician. A politician is a person who is professionally involved in politics, especially as a holder of an elected office. Underdevelopment, having a relative low economic level of industrial production and standard of living. House of Intellectuals, recycling means to use again. House of Intellectuals, indeed affiliates of this session, to begin with, lack of ideology and vision among the recycled politicians. Recycled politicians are leaders with no standards, with no ideas and visions. They are aimless. That is why they keep migrating from one political party to another in search of greener pasture. House of Intellectuals, to show you that I'm a person who speaks from within and not from without, allow me to quote from the News Diggers. According to the News Diggers, in an article published on 25th April 2021, begin of quotation, House of Intellectuals, the politics of this country have already shown that the nature of politics in Zambia is what one can call as nomadic. Nomads have no place they call their own. They live anywhere depending on the situation. If they find the going gets tough, they move to the next party. End of quotation. House of Intellectuals, this insinuates the fact that most of our politicians lack ideologies, are aimless, visionless, hence faithless and hopeless. House of Intellectuals. For instance, Dr. Msokotwane and Felix Mtati have been part of government from 2001 until date. House of Intellectuals. House of Intellectuals, as this wasn't enough, Honorable Sylvia Masebo has been in Parliament from 2006, in the UPND regime, PF regime, and now in the UPND government. House of Intellectuals. But the question should be, what good or positive impact have they brought to our great nation Zambia? House of Intellectuals. It is indeed a shame to our great nation Zambia, to our great nation mother Zambia. House of Intellectuals. House of Intellectuals. House of Intellectuals, some of our politicians are yet to celebrate silver jubilees in this governance. House of Intellectuals, some of our politicians are yet to celebrate silver jubilees in governance. House of Intellectuals, yet not producing any good. House of Intellectuals. It is very disheartening to see someone opposing to this motion. It is very clear and very vivid, House of Intellectuals, to say that recycled politicians are the major reason as to why there is underdevelopment in this country. House of Intellectuals. Allow me to quote from another article. According to the Zambia Watchdog, begin of quotation, we cannot continue with the tendency of recycling political figures at the exclusion of new younger faces. Zambia cannot continue this path of ageism in politics. House of Intellectuals, this is a mind opener that we need to start rejecting recycled politicians. For how long are we going to allow nomadic politicians to rule us? House of Intellectuals. Recycled old habits refuse to die. House of Intellectuals, it is more like a baboon jumping from one mango tree to another. House of Intellectuals, it will just jump from one mango tree to another, but of course it will remain the same baboon. It will never change. A stone will always remain a stone. House of Intellectuals, in as much as we want to experience massive development in this country, let us avoid recycling politicians, as this will hinder development in this great nation Zambia. With these few but convincing points, I submit.
So many points coming out of our first speaker. And of course, that was Mr. Innocent Chanda telling us why Zambia doesn't need to recycle politicians. So many points have come out, of which I don't want to say much about. But of course, a debate is not a debate if we only hear from one side. What as the opposition has to say in as much as this debate is concerned. Remember, you can also be part of this debate by simply sending us your comments of the view. What do you think is indeed the recycling of politicians the reason for underdevelopment in our country, Zambia? Allow me not to say much, but at this point in time, allow me to call upon the second speaker, who is no other than Mr. Joshua Siulanji, coming from the opposing side.
Good evening, viewers, once again. My name is Joshua Sulanji, and I'm here to oppose to the motion that articulates recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in Zambia. And I say no, it is not true. Members of the House, in any society with a system of sober politicians, recycled and politicians are enormous value and regarded as political assets. Members of the House, if we really recall to the and look at the history of this country, we might find to say recycled politicians have contributed a lot into the development of the country. I might give an example of the late President Michael Chilufya Sata. President Michael Chilufya was a recycled politician from the UNIP and went into the MMD and later on formed his own political party, which was called the PF. And with him, if we might really look at it very carefully, he ruled Zambia with experience. Without experience, he couldn't have come up with all those measures that he had to rule this country. Members of the House, I might say recycled politicians are not the reason for us to not develop. I might say the people that really got to vote are the ones that are the reasons for the people not to develop. I might give an example. The people or the politicians that stand for them to go on those positions are not the ones that vote. So why should we blame them rather than blaming the voters that got to vote? It's really absolutely absurd for us to start blaming on them. Development comes through the people and not the politicians. We, the people, are the development, not the politicians. Members of the House, allow me to look at the recycled politicians. Rather, recycled politicians are an individual that go to one political to another, which is ruling. Or rather, a recycled politician is an individual who always show up in every government administration, which is ruling. Okay, so these recycled politicians come with experience, stability, and innovation. I heard my colleagues say they are visionless. I say no to that. They are not visionless. They have got vision. And vision comes with experience. When you know to say, this is wrong, they are able to develop a country through the past mistakes. And through the past mistakes, they were there. And I believe to say the PF government ruled this country through the experience that they had with the UNIP government and MMD. Hence, they had to develop the country through what they called the experience movement. Members of the House, allow me to also come with this statement from Julius Malema, from the African National Congress of South Africa. The man says a country can only be developed through the hard work and experience, through experienced politicians. Members of the House, without a country being ruled by experiments, a country cannot go anywhere. A country ruled by people with experience, a country is developed. Members of the House, young people do not have experience. And experience comes with exposure. They're not exposed to politics. And rather they stay behind politics and they want to get experience. If they want to get involved into politics, then they have to gain the experience, like the hot politicians that have experience. Thank you. I rest my case.
All right, a very big, of course. I would like to appreciate the second speaker, or rather, the opposing person, who is saying, indeed, young people lack experience. That is why Zambia recycles politicians. And he says, well, these people have experience and they can help develop the country. What do you think? What is your thought? Those of you that are watching us, please tell us what you think, and of course, where you are watching us from. And remember, share this live stream to other platforms so that many people can have a feel of what is happening right here in the Lono Studios. Right about now, let us go for a short break, and when we come back, the debate continues.
We show you how the face of Kasama has changed each and every moment. Our production crew has now advanced in streaming live in full HD up to 4K. Lono Studios is well equipped for the service. We have 4K cameras for high resolution, DJI drone for aerial view, live streaming video switcher, gimbal for smooth rotation of an object, and many more equipments. You can book us for live streaming to render your services in sport activities, church services, road shows, corporate meetings and workshops, social gatherings, and many more adventure activities. Book your session now on 0973 173461. Visit or like our Facebook page at Lono TV. Love and nobleness.
Indeed, love and nobleness is what we stand for at Lono TV. And right about now, we are going to have questions, interjections, or anything that you have to say about what the other speaker just talked about. So who are we going to start with? Since we started with the proposing side, I'm going to call upon Mr. Joshua Sulanji to tell us what he has to say about today's motion.
Okay, good evening once more. I really just have to understand my colleague here. He stated something like recycled politicians have got no vision, are visionless, if I might recall of what he talked about. I would really want to understand what he meant by visionless, because a person who has got no vision, I think he cannot rule the country. So I want him to really get me clearly of what he meant by they are visionless. And later on, I want him to understand, to say, a country where there is people with no experience, a country goes nowhere. When he talked about Mr. Musokotwani and which other name was that? Okay. He talked about other politicians that were also people like Musokotwani and others. And he says to say they have got no vision for this country. And if you look at, there are posts in government that really needs people with experience and not people that can come and experiment the country. No, it needs people who really understand what they are there for and what that department holds for them to come up with those ideas. And I want
you thank you, Mr. Solanji. And I will invite Mr. Innocent to rebuttal those remarks from Mr. Solanji.
Thank you very much. Okay, the first thing I would say is that let us use the brain that God gave us wisely. Otherwise, the level of course, ignorance my colleague is parading here is very disheartening. To start with, how can a person agree to this very same thing he opposed to yesterday when he talked about nomadic? I mean, when he talked about one politician moving from one political party to another, jumping from one political party to another. He asked the question recently, individualism is what defines these recycled politicians. All they know is themselves and their well-being. They barely promote the common good. They are opportunists. seeking for riches in various political regimes. That is why they are yet to celebrate silver jubilees minus contributing anything to this governance. They are becoming rich and richer, yet our country is becoming poorer and poorer. House of Intellectuals, as a society, we seem to have an enormous understanding of politics coupled with unprincipled politicians. We think that to be a politician, one has to be in the ruling party. That is not the case. That is total nuisance. To be a politician, one does not have to be in a political party. Rather, that particular person must be able to give checks and balances. Nomadic politics in Zambia is what is defining us right now, House of Intellectuals, indeed affiliates of this session. Most of the recycled politicians and nomadic politicians are there to satisfy their needs and are not representing their constituents. That is the reason politicians like Stephen Masumba, Gabriel Namulambe, and Howard Sikwela found it easy to dump the then ruling party, which was the UPND, to join the ruling party, dump the former MMD and join the PF, which was then the ruling party by then, House of Intellectuals. House of Intellectuals, principled politicians, even when their government has been voted out of power, they stick to it to give checks and balances to the government that has been voted into power. So I don't think that is a question to ask. House of Intellectuals, let us be realistic in what we're talking about. Let us offer checks and balances if we are voted out, and not to be nomadic politicians to move from one political party to another. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Innocent. Of course, so many points coming up. And right about now, allow me to just go through some of the comments that you've been sending. Remember, you can give us your contribution through the comment section. What do you think? Is indeed the recycling of politicians the reason why there is underdevelopment in our country? And to begin with, allow me to start with Martha Mwape, who is just simply saying, wow, thank you so much, Madam Martha Mwape. We will highly appreciate if you can share this live stream so that others can join in and watch it. All right. We also have Honorable Kasanda, who is saying, good motion, Balono Sajo Uko. All right. That is a remark to our technician. All right. We also have Pasco Kashimbaya, who is saying, interesting program. Thank you so much, Mr. Pasco. And of course, we have Chipanda Lloyd, who is saying, Lono, I'm enjoying your program. Introduce virtual debate as well so that we can take part, some of us who are not within. All right, the interesting part, Mr. Chimponda, is that you can join us even where you are by simply joining the debate virtually. But of course, that is not an option for today, but that can be done. All right. So we also have Evelyn Ngoma, who is saying, wow, I am with you, my brother, first speaker, Innocent Chanda, watching from Lusaka. Thank you so much, Madam Evelyn. Without saying so much, Mr. Joshua, do you have anything you can add at this moment? Sure.
Okay, I heard my fellow speaker say, okay, like he did not really answer my question that I asked. I asked, what did he mean by visionless politicians? That was my question. And he went astray and answered something else.
All right, can we have the answer from the proposing side?
Okay, a visionless leader. A visionless leader is what defines recycled politicians. Like I earlier alluded, there are politicians who have been in government, who have been in governance, who have been into politics, and of course, moving from one political party to another, that they have not contributed anything to the governance of this nation. That is what I mean when I say visionless. A visionless person will find means and ways. You said they have experience. Someone with experience yet to provide anything good to this republic country, House of Intellectuals. Someone with experience must provide something nice to this country. However, these politicians who have been recycled have not contributed anything we can talk about that can benefit this great nation. That is what I meant when I say visionless. A visionless person does not contribute positively to the growth and development of a country, and they have not done that.
Thank you so much. I will invite your conclusion, Mr. Sulanji. Please give us your conclusion in as much as today's debate is concerned.
Okay. I believe recycled politicians have contributed a lot in terms of development in this country. And I believe, and we all have seen, and an example that I can give is the late President Michael Chilufya-Sata. He came all the way from the UNIP into the MMD and later formed his own political party, which was the Patriotic Front. And I believe he ruled this country through the experience that he had through the UNIP and MMD. And later on, he had the experience to rule the country better. And we all enjoyed the way he ruled this country. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I will now invite the conclusion from Mr. Innocent Chanda.
Well. Interesting. What I can say is that noticeably, it's relevant to affirm that lack of ideology and vision plus lack of politics of common good is equal to zero development. It's relevant to affirm that lack of ideology and vision plus lack of politics of common good is equal to zero development. That's as long as we continue upholding and propagating for recycled politicians with no ideologies, we will remain the same. Zambia will not develop if we continue recycling old politicians. House of Intellectuals, indeed affiliates of this session, allow me to conclude by saying we need God to help us with this motion so that whoever has bewitched us shall go to sleep, because there is no way we shall continue being led by grand papas. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So much energy coming from the proposing side of this debate, saying indeed we don't want to be ruled by grand papas. I hope you understand what he means by that. But right about now, this is where we are going to end with the debate. But remember, we are still waiting for your contribution, and you are the judges for this debate. Please tell us who you think has carried the day in as much as this debate is concerned. So when we go, we are going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we shall discuss this debate. All right, we shall discuss this motion and hear what these gentlemen have to say. And we have one other person who is going to give us his own contribution in as much as this debate is concerned. I'm talking about Mr. Mindset, the youth activist. So please stay tuned.
LONO Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As LONO Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than LONO Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at LONOZM.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the LONO Debates, and we are going to right about now just discuss a little bit about today's motion. Mr. Andrew, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
Did you enjoy the debate between these two gentlemen?
I enjoyed it, and I think this guy is the hot.
Sure. All right, so yeah. Mr. Mindset, what is your thought about today's motion?
This motion is very trick confusion.
Okay.
Because
the confusion is
there are some politicians who are good, even though they are being recycled, but there are some politicians who are disturbing the country when it comes to development.
Okay, yeah. So mleranda poshani.
Okay, what I can say, I can support the ruling, also the opposition in one way, because we have got people like Sylvia Masebo. Okay. Sylvia Masebo, he joined politics long time ago, and he did well. Legend politician. Yeah, he did well in MMD. Yeah. Again, after that, he joined another party where he also performed well,
which was PF.
Which was PF again. Again, UPND, they picked up because of hard working.
Okay.
Because Sylvia Maseo joined UPND in 2015. And from that time, he has shown the quality of leadership. He served as General Secretary for United Party, which is the big position. Okay. But he was recycled from other party. But he was given the task to do. And he she did well with that task. At the end, she's now the Minister of Health, of which we have started even benefiting in our country.
All right. So Bambi Balabomba.
Yeah. But when you go again to some confused recycled politicians, like Chimba Kambwidi, they are not decided because they are fighting for leadership.
Yeah.
He started with a certain party. Again, he goes to the certain party just because he knows that Lungu is not interested to stand as a president. And then shortly resigned from NDC to go to PF so that he can stand a better chance to be an MP. So those are not the politicians that we want to be recycled.
So according to you, it's a good thing to recycle politicians.
Yeah. In some cases, like Benham Sokotwane, those hardworking, they can be recycled, because in some sensitive ministries, like Minister of Finance, maybe you put someone who has not have that background, maybe an idea of that ministry. It will be difficult for that person to catch up, especially while in our country we don't have a stable dollar. We find that today is 16 kwacha, tomorrow is 20 kwacha. So you can't even put a normal price whereby my product or Sajotech cannot put products, maybe a mask screen protectors, if it shirt 20 kwacha. As you may find that today they can sell at 20 kwacha. Wow. When they go to orders, they find that it has changed. Maybe 20 kwacha is the order price.
Sure.
So they need to put a technical person in that ministry, the person who has got experience in order to learn that ministry.
Okay, all right. So what chance? Okay, perhaps let us go with Mr. Chanda. Yes. What is your real talk away from the debate? What is your real talk about today's motion?
I stand with my position. Politicians should never be recycled.
Okay.
How are the youths going to have experience? How are they going to have experience in a situation whereby that particular person you're lying in to say, okay, this person is the one to lead that position. Msokotwane is the only person who can be the finance minister. How about if he dies? He's getting old. He will die one day, very soon. We need to have...
we hope he doesn't.
Very soon in future. I'm sure. Yes,
okay,
very soon in future. Yes.
Yeah.
He'll die in future. And of course, we're also bound to die. But of course, as age progresses, yes, you have those signs to say, okay, this person is...
So you would rather we don't recycle politicians, but we introduce young people.
Introduce other politicians as well, so that they can also have the experience, the same experience that Musokotwane had. Because he was once a young person. He never had experience when he came, when he was appointed as finance minister. He never had experience, but he was appointed.
But do you think it's a good thing for us to experiment these positions with, let's say, young people? We say, let's put someone who is not like a legendary politician. We just pick anybody who is capable. Position. Don't you think it's dangerous to experiment?
It's not dangerous. There are quite a number of people who are capable. A lot of people who are capable of leading that.
Okay.
Just, of course, a self-introspection about different individuals, and they can pick a very, very good person, of course, who can run that ministry very well, better than the person they're relying on.
All right. Thank you so much. That is the view of Mr. Chanda. Remember, you can also tell us what you think by simply sending us your views in the comment section, and we'll get to read those comments. Perhaps we should have more younger people to lead positions like we are talking about. Mr. Joshua, what's your real talk away from the debate? You are no longer debating right now. In reality, what do you think? Is indeed the recycling of politicians the reason for underdevelopment in our country?
I don't think it's the reason for underdevelopment in our country.
Okay.
And I think recycled politicians have contributed a lot in terms of developing. When we talk about recycled politician, we're not talking about age of a person.
Okay.
Rather, we are talking about an individual who has moved from one party to the ruling party.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the
someone
age.
Who has been in government for a long time.
Yes.
Okay.
It does not matter the age. The person might be 35 or 40 or less than that. But
Okay.
all that matters is it has been recycled.
Perhaps what he meant by age is for somebody to have been in the MMD and then in the PF, then the UPND.
No, I heard him correctly. He said something like papas. Like
Okay,
we don't
all
need
right.
to be ruled by papas. No.
Okay.
Recycled politician is not like that.
Okay.
It doesn't matter the age. And I think they have contributed a lot of, running a ministry does not need an experiment. Rather,
Okay.
if you experiment, it will bring about confusion into a country. And rather, you need somebody who really understands the ministry and who really has experience through that ministry.
Okay, perhaps, maybe finish your point, then I'll ask this question.
Rather, these what we call the new politicians, they can hold small positions in government and gain experience. Through the experience, they can rise to those ministries. But I don't really agree in terms of experimenting those people and then giving them bigger posts in government.
Perhaps maybe let me ask you this question. Would you advise that, let's say, we bring back politicians like our former president, Mr. Boizani Banda, to become president in the coming elections? Would you advise such? Because when we talk of politicians, we are not just talking about ministers. We can recycle a president. Let's say we bend the rules and say, nangwari po president akare kutitwa mubwesha. Would it be a good thing for Zambia if we can bring back people like that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. If they ruled this country well, they really deserve to come back and rule again.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. Don't you think that will limit the number of positions that younger people would have? Because we have so many young people who are not into politics. Perhaps there are no positions for them, they feel.
Well, I think young people really need to prove to themselves to say they are better than those politicians.
How? How can they prove themselves if they don't have a chance in those positions?
Chances are there. I can tell you, chances are there. There are
Okay.
small positions that they can really prove themselves to say, I think this person can really.
Please face the
do that.
cameras. Yes.
Yeah, I think they can really prove. There are small positions that are given to young politicians, and they can,
What positions are those, would you suggest?
like permanent secretaries,
Okay.
like DCs.
Those positions should be for younger people.
Those positions, if a young person or a young politician is appointed to those positions, I think they really to prove to them to themselves to say they are better than those recycled politicians.
Okay, Mr. Mindset, your word on what he's talking about.
First, let me react on the Joshua's comment, because he has said that we need to give positions such as permanent secretary to young people. Those are technical positions,
Okay.
which requires someone who is more knowledgeable about that. In fact, the permanent secretary works more than a minister, because a minister is just a boss. He instructs the permanent, but permanent secretary will work what is on the ground. But what is needed is that some vena bakulu sana whereby even nangunipa nchito para kwa taritari aleke nchito ngakota kwa bomba kwa bakwete miro pasha fresh. Do you think in some position whereby like in this new Dawn government we have got people like Kangwachi Chileshe?
Yes.
Kangwachi Chileshe is just our fellow youths. The way he portray, the way he do things. Now anybody remember there is a rumor whereby the first lot to Kangwachi Chileshe that want to increase the price of the Zambian coach, the Chiporoporo coach, want to increase the salary for him. He refused. But inga muntu wako wati yo shani yo bala mwena mwabantu bad shani. So young people, they are strong when it comes to decision making. They make what they make what is important for them and what is important for bantu bambi, because namono ko bati ku ministry nga twapere shingi tulepera ujerifari vengi benda kwatira po empowerment pali lo rupia ruresha lako. So young people, they are better chances of do this country compared to Ababa Kote, because we need to experience now. If there is
perhaps Andrew, give us maybe an example of a younger politician who abombapo wino sana or tungaperera ko example kwe, but indeed young people deserve a chance when it comes to politics.
Okay, we young people we are doing fine. Like we have got Mao Sampa. Mao Sampa, even the time Ali serving the mayor, he used to work accordingly.
Okay.
If you remember, there is incident which happened. I mean, it's early last year, whereby he chased even some Chinese guys who were trying to treat people. You find that according to the expectation of people. Now, I want to share with you this what makes people or what makes us to recycle politician in Zambia, because mostly in Zambia, young people, they don't involve themselves in politics because they think that politics is all about money, which is true in Zambia. In Zambia, people, they vote a person who has money, not a person who can bring development in the country. No wonder you find that those people who have got knowledge, who have got that art of developing this country or this constituency, it can be a constituency, they are failing to stand because of they don't have financial people so that they can vote for them. They don't have chitenge materials. So at the end, you find that they backslide from instead they
politics.
You have got a motive to be a politician, but you can't be a politician while you are going to support a person who has money. So that they can shine. They can cook. Using your idea. Uleva nokubeba ati kukasama kuno ndefo musewoyu mukapange ukapitana kwa mwamba wabeba baya mkulanda ku bantu ati ukapite kwa mwamba okweta manoni wewe nombone firo kwe ukuba pamu because of money.
All right, we've been told that we are running out of time. This has been a very interesting discussion, but before we go, allow me to go through some of the comments that our viewers out there have been sending, and one is coming from Agre Lulu Lumbwa Kennedy, who is saying the presenter is a sophist. The way he is questioning and seeking for clarification. Okay, I would love to go and find out what you mean by a sophist, because that is quite interesting. All right, we also have Wisdom Kabinda, who is saying nice program. Thank you so much, Mr. Wisdom. We would appreciate if you can share this live stream. Then we also have Major Wizu saying Andrew, Mr. Mindset. I guess that goes on to you. Major also continues saying interesting watching you guys from Chilubi Island. Thank you so much. And we also have Eve Ara Monga, who is saying interesting program, brother. Then Mr. Agre continues on and says we do not need to argue or debate. Innocent has carried the day. Recycled politicians are the drivers of underdevelopment in our country. Okay. Then we have Monga again saying following you, brother. That is great. Then Agre continues on and says Sata, yes. How about the ones we have today? The likes of Felix Chipota Mutati, Sylvia Masebo Musokotwani, what good have they brought? Interesting question. Okay, we also have Thomas Piri J.R. who is saying following. In plain English, the consecutive reutilization of similar political veterans to represent the compact majoritarian is practically a rotten concept. This is Africa. What do we expect? We are incubated and nurtured to believe that recycling of politicians is key to national development because of the experience. In actual, it is the opposite. We cannot base reference on selfish politicians who sacked, misused, manhandled, abused, mismanaged, vandalized, and corrupted the government systems. Instead, we should base reference on American ways of doing things. We cannot continue to recycle a clique or a group of persons at the expense of millions of Zambians. Instead, we should create opportunities for others to serve. Fresh ideas, new strategies, chapwa. Okay,
I like that comment.
That is a very sensitive comment, but yet very educating. All right, so perhaps maybe your last words, Mr. Innocent, even as we wind up with today's program. And remember, if you are watching out there and you are within Kasama, this platform is for you. Next week debate is on. You can simply inbox us if you are available and within Kasama, because our studios are located in Kasama. Please inbox us and we'll give you a platform on next week's debate. Mr. Innocent, your last words.
Okay, beautiful. This has been an interesting debate. recycling of politicians is the reason for underdevelopment in our beautiful nation, Zambia. Of course, let us think about it. And of course, you know that we should not recycle politicians. We should never recycle politicians. Away from that, I would like to upload, of course, those of you who have been connected to Lono TV, those of you who have been following us, who have been following the Lono debates. They have been, of course, educative. Let us continue staying glued every Tuesday, 19:30. And of course, as he earlier alluded, if you want to take part, you can, of course, come through to their inbox and then just get in touch with them. You can, of course, get in touch with me. I can connect you to them. No problem.
Sure,
yes,
we appreciate that.
And of course, I would like to appreciate Mr. Gray for the wonderful comments. And of course, Miss Angela, the president, yes, president should not recycle politicians. And all of you who have been connected to Lono TV, those of you who have commented, a big round of applause to you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mindsets. We're under 30 seconds. Your last words.
Okay, thank you very much. Kuri bonsa bachira comment I've seen you wisdom and nabambi major. But what I can say is that the encouragement that I can give Kuri bonse okobati na to each stay involved ma politics so that we don't have recycled politician. Na tuingire ma politics situation I focus in that whether we have money or what, as long as no ureba abantu fe in that you can also get involved in those politics and okutasha fe kuri balono balanda tifu emefiro mbero muchere na babomba sana balono for bringing this studio mukasama so that we can also kudatambika pachinji.
Thank you, Mr. Solanji. Your last words as we wind up.
Okay, my last words are, I think recycled politicians really contribute a lot to the development of this country.
Okay.
We can all imagine a country ruled by people with no experience.
Okay.
How could be that country?
Okay. Perhaps maybe a better mixing of experienced and maybe the bit bari afuirisha ko bari abashaba experienced. We put someone who is a new politician, then of course those who are experienced can be helping in the background. How is that?
You cannot just, it's more or less like an experiment.
Okay.
You don't just experiment someone in those positions. Those are sensitive positions that you can ever think of.
Okay.
So
you're still standing.
I still stand with that. Because I think a person really needs experience.
Sure.
Let them prove themselves to this country to say they are capable of.
And what is your proposal of a way they can prove themselves that they can do it?
Let them be engaged.
Okay. So what should they...
Let them hold small positions in government and prove themselves to say they are capable.
Then be upgraded to other positions.
To other positions.
Okay.
They don't just have to go straight to that position. No.
So bafine bambira ko patuma position yotunono babako bashani ba ward councillor bashani ya ba youth chairman muma areas muntubekele like that. Okay, interesting. All right, so
even though I'll give an example, I think a lot of people might say the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, most of them might say he has never worked into government.
Yes,
he's not a recycled politician.
He's a new politician.
But if we look at his government, he's also using the recycled politician, the experienced one.
Okay.
He's also using the experienced politician.
Maybe that is what I said, that perhaps we choose someone who can be helped by those who are experienced. Not that they have to be in government per se, but babako on the side, being useful to say we are veterans, we can help you as advisors and whatnot. Not that they must be put on payroll and government
payroll. Is it
payroll.
not just the same as recycling? They are already back. You have already called them back. So it's more or less like they are recycled again.
They are being used to help.
Yes.
Perhaps maybe by putting a new... Okay, I think this word for a long discussion. But you, our viewers out there, you can simply give us your contribution in the comment section. And one last comment is coming from Major Wheezy, who is saying, and recycling politicians is visionless. If they are good politicians, why didn't they maintain their positions till death? The reason why people change is to see other people do come on board and give us what they have to offer. All right, so indeed this has been your presenter Clarius J.R. on Lono Debates. Until next time, please stay tuned. And of course, I almost forgot one thing before we go, please stay tuned to Lono TV tomorrow at 19:30 hours, because we are going to have a very interesting program where we shall bring the ward councillor for Mulilansolo ward to have an interview on how we can develop Kasama, in particular Mulilansolo ward. So if you are a person who stays within Kasama and you're in Mulilansolo ward, this is indeed your program. You have to watch and hear what your ward councillor has to say, as well as give him ideas, ask him questions. This will be the platform. All right, from me and the entire production crew, it's bye-bye for today.
We show you how the face of Kasama has changed each and every moment. Our production crew has now advanced in streaming live in full HD up to 4K. Lono Studios is well equipped for the service. We have 4K cameras for high resolution, DJI drone for aerial view, live streaming video switcher, gimbal for smooth rotation of an object, and many more equipments. You can book us for live streaming to render your services in sport activities, church services, road shows, corporate meetings and workshops, social gatherings, and many more adventure activities. Book your session now on 0973-173461. Visit or like our Facebook page at Lono TV. Love ain't no bonus. Lono Studios cares about your memories, and what better way to keep your memories than having pictures and videos. As Lono Studios, we cover events such as weddings, kitchen parties, chilanga mulilo, birthday parties, as well as corporate events. If you are looking for quality pictures and videos for such events, look no further than Lono Studios. Visit and like our Facebook page at Lono ZM.